Hi guys, it's Kirsty here, and thanks for tuning into my channel Crypto Flamingo. So today I'm going to do a strategic analysis on the BAT token being offered by Brave Browser. So Brave Browser was founded in 2015 and is headquartered in California in America. So it came to fruition as a fork of the open source browser Google Chromium. But what they did was they included Tor, which enables VPN capability to allow untraceable location of user, and they have blocked any adverts. They've also developed a partnership with DuckDuckGo, which is another famous browser for privacy. The browser is compatible with Windows, Linux, and Mac. They have a lot of high-profile skilled resources, including the JavaScript creator and the Mozilla co-founder. So what is the BAT token? The BAT token is the Basic Attention Token, which is an ERC20 token created on the Ethereum network. It's intended to be utilised as a digital advertising ecosystem. There are three shareholders to consider in this business model. The first is people who use the browser. So they will be rewarded in BAT tokens for interacting with adverts that are targeted to them. They will then be able to use those BAT tokens to tip media providers like Patreon. They'll be able to buy premium content like online newspapers. And then advertisers, which is shareholder 2, will use the BAT tokens to buy the advertising space, which is then utilised to target people. And then the third is the media creators and publishers, and they will be rewarded in BAT tokens. So I believe that Brave Browser have created this BAT concept, which is a pretty solid concept, but they're piloting it in their world first to prove its viability with a means to sell it and outsource it to other browsers, other app providers, etc. thereafter. I do believe there's a little bit of a conflict of target market and product solution here, but we'll discuss this later. So according to ICOrating.com, the initial ICO of the BAT token occurred in May 2017, where they raised 35 million US dollars. Then you can see, as per the figures on May 9th, that the total supply versus the circulating supply of the BAT tokens, there's about 240 million yet to be in supply. So they seem to be nearly exhausted in terms of those that were intended to be created and those that are in circulation. So the target market for Brave and for BAT, I think, are two different sets. So the target market for Brave appear to be people who are interested in anonymity and privacy. You could almost say they're like anarchists. Whereas the people who could be utilising the BAT token, I think there's two subsets here. So one is a bit like social media users. So typically these are people who don't care about their privacy because they sign up to all the terms, they put their entire life online, and they get bombarded with advertising every single time that they log in. The second is Reddit users, particularly Reddit Gold users, because these are people who have experience of buying tokens and using them within a constrained ecosystem. But you could say the same about any sort of online gaming platform or such like, which utilises a currency intended to be exhausted within the system. If you have a look at this diagram from deviceatlas.com, you'll see that there are numerous competitors doing web browsers, and these are probably only a small fraction of them. The key competitor, in my opinion, however, which you may have seen in the news recently, is called Gab. So Gab are a social media site who have been trying to broadcast freedom of speech, and they're having problems getting someone to host them. So they recently disclosed in the news that they were planning to create their own web browser. And how they're going to do this is they're going to take a fork of Brave, then they're going to strip it down, add Bitcoin instead of BAT, and then while utilising Bitcoin, they're going to use the Lightning Network, which is wicked cool. So one case study that came up while I was researching about BAT was this guy here who is Jose Arteaga, and he's got a pretty cool channel you should check out. You'll see it in the references below. And basically what happened to him is he was being tipped in the BAT token for his content, as well as being rewarded BAT tokens from Brave Browser for utilising their platform. And then he wanted to convert them back to fiat so he could actually use the money, or into crypto, it doesn't matter. He wanted to convert them from BAT to something else. And he doesn't own a bank account. He used a mobile app, sort of cash app thing. And Brave apparently said, we're compatible with this one, which was the Uphold we discussed earlier. But Uphold requires KYC, requires traditional registration, a bit like a normal bank, which would incur centralization. And it basically meant that this dude got locked out of the funds that he had earned and raised as a result of utilizing their platform. And that's a bit sucky, really. You know, one of the things that makes Brave fantastic is the fact that it enables anonymity. And for them to have a product which does quite the opposite is a large contrast. It might work for a specific type of shareholder that they have involved in their business model, but for those producing content, like Jose, there's some flaws. Another case example came from the Bitcoin for Beginners video. Kevin made a claim that the founder has projected during a year, someone can earn anywhere between $9.60 or $224 for signing up to the BAT service as a browser user. So that implies, is that enough money to give up your privacy? I mean, maybe if you're earning $200 odd, maybe you might think about it if you're down on your luck. But $10? Is $10 really worth giving up your privacy and being bombarded with adverts? So marketing-wise for the BAT, they state in their highlights paper that they're targeting America and Europe, which they have done by contacting local governments and Senate. They also have a Reddit AMA series where they do video episodes of interviews with different Brave/BAT team members. And they also state that they have held 23 meetups globally since 2018, as well as events in London, Singapore, Seoul in South Korea, New York, and San Francisco. They also state in the last year alone, they've increased their active users 5 times. They've increased their verified publishers 7 times. They've increased platform desktop speed by 22%. And they've joined AdLedger, which is a not-for-profit organisation, which is a consortium of people who are trying to develop the blockchain industry. A couple of these are IBM and CoinDesk, so it's a big deal, as well as working with Civic to improve their KYC processes. Now, one thing that they've recognised, which I'm assuming they're going to be working on for 2019, is that the growth in users of their platform have gone from 80% mobile, 20% desktop, implying that mobile is now a very important sector for their business. So it sounds like that's going to be a key focus for them for 2019. So general overview of the positives and negatives of the BAT project, in my opinion. So Brave Browser, which is the parent to this, is a fantastic product. It's very well done, which implies that the team are very skilled, very good at what they're doing. And as per their highlights report, they seem to be progressing well and they've developed some really good partnerships. So I think there is a good chance that they're going to be very well orchestrated in 2019 to achieve success. However, I do believe there's some problems with this project. So the first one is the fact that it's an ERC20 token. We know that there are scalability issues on the Ethereum network. So I feel to start there is a bit silly in the first place, but they've done it. Next, the BAT requires a KYC centralizing process for Patreon-esque type users to convert it to alternative currencies. That's a problem. The target market contrast between BAT and Brave is 2 completely different sectors. Now, that's not necessarily a problem, but the fact that they're piggybacking on each other is. So there is a chance that this change in Brave's internal morals to say it's okay now, we're going to show you adverts, it's okay now, we're going to do this, blah, 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 it could have an impact on the brand. Now, I understand why they're doing it. They've developed a very good project, which is BAT. They have a working platform, which is Brave, and it makes sense to try with your own resources, to pilot it, to gain experience, to show that it works before you try and sell it to other people. But I'm not sure in this case that that's a good strategy to have done. I think it would have been better to test it on somebody else's platform, somebody who doesn't care about these things, because Brave has such a good reputation for being all about privacy, for having no adverts, for doing this, for doing that. I think it's very high risk in terms of their actual brand. And as a result of that, there's a chance that Gab could come in and swoop a high percentage of their users because of this. Because ultimately, a lot of the people who are interested in privacy, anonymity, anarchism are Bitcoin people, which is awesome. But for Gab to realize this and to target to this, and for Brave not to, is a bit of an issue. Finally, is why are Brave not investing more in social media in their digital product, which sells digital advertising? So an example of this was the fact that in the marketing section, you could see the icons on the right: YouTube, Telegram, Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, Twitter. So they have all of these platforms, but they're not using them. So my overall summary, the solution of BAT, I think it's a really good idea, and I think it does have potential. I just think that integrating it into Brave browser, when Brave has such a clear mission, a clear target market, etc., I think it could be detrimental to the brand. I think it's a good project, but I think they're doing it the wrong way, in my opinion. The target market, I think Brave has a very clear target market, but I think that is not the same as the BAT target market. I think that the people who use BAT are not the same people. I think that people who want to buy premium content are the people who want to block adverts, not the other way around. So I think that they probably need to do a little bit more work on who their target market are and figure out how they can better address them. The marketing, I feel, is a bit lacking as well. So they've set up all these channels of social media, such as Reddit, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, etc., but they're not utilizing them. So YouTube has 5 videos, and the last one was posted 10 months ago. Reddit is generally community driven, but the last Brave team post was 15 days ago. Instagram, the last post was January 2019. Telegram, the channel has only 41 subscribers. That's as of the 9th of May. And the Facebook was just created in April, and it's only got 4 posts. The only social media platform that they seem to be using is Twitter, which, although it's good, is a little bit of a half-assed attempt in my opinion. Growth-wise, I think there's really good potential for growth, but I think there's also high risk. So the highlights that they showed in 2018 were extremely promising. They show that they have people on their team who can negotiate well, who can think ahead, who can try and increase the performance of the product to increase users, publishers, etc. However, we already know that the BAT token release and the conflict in target market and Gab as a competitor, there's a lot of risk that potentially 2019 could be a turning point, and they just need to be very careful how they handle this. Then the sales and commercial. So in terms of a project, BAT, I believe, does have the ability to make money. It's a proven business model, the digital advertising space. I just think that potentially doing it with Brave browser as opposed to Google, for example, is risky. I think if this project had been sold to Facebook, to Google, to any other platform which has users who don't care about anonymity, who are used to being shown adverts, I think it would go down perfect. There would not be any problems, any reservations in my mind at all. But the fact that they're doing it on DuckDuckGo and Brave browser, which are infamous for people who want privacy, who want a clean browser, I think there's high risk there, and they just need to be very careful how they do this, and they need to keep their eyes wide open. So that is my overview of the Brave browser BAT token. I hope it's been useful, and if you have any comments, please leave them below, or hit me up a like or a subscribe, and see you next time. Cheers, bye!